Hi everyone, it's Nicole here for Spellbinders with my June 2019 Small Die of the Month kit card. This features the Kaleidoscope Trio dies, and I'm actually only using one of the designs that you get in the kit. There's many more dies. I will be sharing some additional cards with this set later on. This is kind of a great flower petal kind of design, and that is the one I'm using. You can also see that there's some other shapes with hexagons and circles. Now, from some of the Fun Stamper's Journey whipped cream cardstock, I did emboss it with the layered Scallops die, or pardon me, embossing folder, and then I cut that apart. I've also pre-die cut the 4 layers for this kaleidoscope design with these, what I'm going to use them as flower petals, but you can use them for all kinds of kaleidoscope type art. And I'm going to layer them together. The bottom layer is Turbo Teal Fun Stamper's Journey cardstock, and really you only see that in that little area kind of at the very base, so in the background. My next layer is the Fun Stamper's Journey bubblegum cardstock, then Watermelon Fusion cardstock, and finally finishing with my very favorite Cool Pool cardstock, which is a really awesome mint color. On the white background, I think you can see that a little better. I am going to glue each of these together in this same order. You could mix it up if you wanted to. There's so many different ways to do this. Now, as I mentioned, die cut these all off camera, and then I just kind of stack them together to make it easy to put them together really quickly. I have each one laid out there with the corresponding die that I used to die cut that particular layer. And then I'm gluing them together with some liquid adhesive. These are really quick and easy to put together. If you like kind of the more, I would say, modern type of art look, there's just so many things you can do with these. These are awesome, awesome. They can be used individually. They can be used layered like I'm doing here. And you get all of these dies. You're getting 10 dies in the small die of the month. I am a huge fan of the Spellbinders kits of the month because the value for what you get is amazing. And each month you're getting incredible dies. This is the one I started out with, the small die of the month. I thought for $12.50 plus shipping a month that you couldn't beat that, and I was just so such a big fan of that. And I love how the dies work together. So let's say you have the small die and the large die. You can use those together to create some really amazing things. I can't say enough great things about the Spellbinders Club kits. If you love the small and the large, you can always subscribe or upgrade to the Die Hard kit. That is the small and large die of the month. So you can get both of those every single month. Now, once I have these all layered and glued together, I'm ready to start playing around with them and playing around with placement. I immediately thought of flower petals when I saw this, but you can, as I mentioned, do many different designs. So I'm going to kind of lay them out along the border of my layered scallop background in a flower pattern. And I want to start with the middle one so that I evenly distribute the flower petals. They will go a little wider than a 4 1/4 inch wide portrait style card, so I will snip off a little bit on the edges of those petals clear on the far right and far left. I'm going to use a rhinestone gemstone for the center of my flower. And these are from Pretty Pink Posh. And then this adorable little sentiment here is from the Fun Stamper's Journey Mini Greetings stamp set. We're starting with the bottom part of our card here, and I'm just going to play around with some gemstones. I found that these smaller sized ones fit really nice inside the die cut design of the flower petal, so they're going to add a fun little touch of sparkle. This is a quick and easy card design as far as assembly. It was mainly just kind of figuring out what I wanted to put where. That took time, and then die cutting all the layers. So let's put some glue on the back of the middle one. As I mentioned, we're going to start in the middle so we can hopefully get that lined up as close to center as possible. You could also measure this if you don't feel comfortable eyeballing that. And then from there, we're going to do the side and line that up with the top edge of the layered scallop piece. We'll put our flower center gemstone in. I opted for pink. I played around with the pink and the blue, or the kind of aqua minty color, and ended up using pink. And then we will do the remaining 2 petals. I also think this would be really pretty to do a complete flower. Very easily, I think you could definitely do an entire flower. And then I'm just trying to evenly space these between one another. In those little die cut openings, I'm going to put a little dab of glue, and then I'm going to pick up my gemstones and pop them down. And they're really going to kind of go down inside, because remember, this is 4 layers of cardstock and it really fits perfectly down in there. You could use a little bit bigger gemstone if you don't want it to fit down inside, but I really kind of liked that because I think it will lie in the envelope a little bit better. And then, as I mentioned, the petals hang off the side, so I just snipped that down before I adhere it to my card base. So this is going to go along the bottom edge of the card base. Our sentiment's going to go in between, but I really felt it's a lot of white. It's a lot of white on white, and so I want to frame up the opening where I'm going to stamp my sentiment with a little turbo teal cardstock. I'm always a big fan of a little colorful strip, especially with all of this white. Even though that we have the great embossing, I think that it just adds a nice little touch. We could even, I also really love when you pop up these panels and have the sentiment down below. So I could have applied the top and bottom panels with foam adhesive, and that would have given it a little extra dimension. I'm going to stamp my sentiment with a pink ink. I was really aware of when I was stamping this what color of ink I was using. I think a black ink would take away from the design. There's not black anywhere else on this card. It's a lot of white, a lot of pastels, and I just really was aware when choosing an ink to pick something that was going to complement the card design. And so I used this Simon Says Stamp Doll Pink ink, which I think picks up the Watermelon Fusion Fun Stamper's Journey cardstock nicely. And it really stands out against those turbo teal borders. I'm going to go ahead and attach those now to my card. I wasn't going to put that scalloped edge along the top edge of the card, but I really felt like it needed it. And I'm glad that I did, because it adds a little bit of texture and interest to the top edge of the card. Now at this point, your card could be completely finished if you want to. I did play around with a few additional embellishments and opted to add more rhinestones to the tip of the flower petals, 3 of them. The tips of the 2 on the sides are cut off, so I didn't add any there, but I'm just going to add some smaller jewels there to the tips of these flower petals. And then I'm going to take some light pink sequins and glue those up by the sentiment and up high. Gives it a little bit of whimsy. I'm using the crystal katana to pick those up, adding little dabs of liquid glue and then popping those down in place. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video showcasing the Spellbinders June 2019 Small Die of the Month Club Kit Kaleidoscope Trio. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Spellbinders Club Kits that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel to never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.